So, I decided, in my book that I'm writing, I'm going to kill off a few characters, which should spice up the old autobiography a bit. Hello, everyone. And welcome to the Black Dog version 2, episode 81. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
And I'm very broken.
Really? Oh, God.
I need a Windows update.
Oh, no.
Oh, shut up. Really?
Seriously.
You could go to Windows 11 if you wanted to.
No, I'm fine.
Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome to the Black Dog, and sorry for being away last week. Yeah, we get to that because what we're going to do is going to see how everyone's fortnight's been, and then we'll read any feedback if any's out there, and then finally we will get on to this week's movie, which was my pick, which was Doctor Sleep. The sequel to The Shining, both the book and the film, but not the book of the film, if you know what I mean. Anyway, we'll get round to that. It's all very confusing, but we will get onto that soon. But first, we're going to find out how everyone's intervening time is. Let's not call it a fortnight, because, you know, God knows how long it's been. But we'll start with let's start with you, Elton, because you were doing juicy danglers there with your broken.
Oh, okay. Right.
Go on.
With your broken dangler.
I have a lot to cram in, so I'll do like the abridged version. Is it the abridged version? I never know if it's like the abridged, if that's longer or what, but I'll do the short version.
We'll go with it. We'll go with it.
Yeah, man.
What one's the longer one? Is it non-abridged?
Unabridged.
Abridged means it is shortened.
Okay, cool. What do they take out? Like paragraphs and shit like that?
In bad cases, yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Never
chapters.
buy those nice little leather hardback books, as they say, Reader's Digest, because they were kind of like an ITV 1980s cut for swearing version.
Right,
Yes.
okay.
Hey, you money funster.
Oh no, it was much more the really bad ITV. Go, this scene's got swearing in. We could dub it, or we could just lose it.
Yeah.
Let's lose it.
It's a lot easier.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Film doesn't make sense now. I don't give a fuck.
Nice.
Okay, so where do I begin? I'm going to start with the bad stuff, so you know where I'm coming from, okay?
Okay.
A couple of weeks ago, this is the reason why I was absent last week, started having heart palpitations. That's not good. That's fucking not good at all. That is not fun, man. Definitely not fun. I would not. And they've kind of died off, and today I got hit by a couple again, and so that's why I'm sounding a little down. So if it becomes belly laugh episode, I may have to bail because I may not survive until the end of the episode.
So
Okay.
if you die,
Yeah.
I guarantee that what we'll do is we'll just carry on anyway.
Please just carry on. Well, that was the end of Elton. Thank you very much. It's like saying goodbye to Northern Ireland, basically.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's like Noel's swap shop when he used to
Yeah.
get calls from Australia on Christmas Day.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we seem to have lost Elton. Anyway, moving on. Jeff from Cheen would like you to swap a scale electrics for a Etch-a-Sketch.
Exactly, yes.
One of us could shout slacker as well as you fade out of existence.
Yeah. As you hear the sirens coming towards us in the
Just a
background.
poor excuse just for a fucking lie down. Jesus
Paramedics
Christ.
walk in and go, well, he's not here anymore, so we're not needed.
That's it. Oh, well, never mind. Clean up the crew in aisle 4.
Someone close his laptop.
Oh, this appears to still be on. Click.
Yep. So I'm at like 50% capacity at the moment, so it's not fun. I have been to the doctors, and in great doctor style, I got in within like a couple of days, so that was cool. So I saw the doctor, I sat down, said everything, and she reckons the heart sounds fine, and it seems to be down to stress.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I'd say that was right. Yeah.
okay, fine. Still worrying me, though. And there were
Yeah.
a couple of moments where I was just sat on my own, just watching some TV, and then you have one hit, and you're like, oh. And then you have like this weird sense of, oh, this isn't good. Oh, is it time?
Is this it?
Yeah, this is it. And then you start slowly climbing up the back of your sofa. You're like, oh, no, not now, not now, not now.
Yeah.
I haven't reached the end of this show yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm only 3 episodes in. Please, not now. Come on, don't do this. Yeah, I'm running on around about 75%, so
Okay.
I don't want to push it any more than that. But the weird thing is, I saw the doctor, and she gave me a choice. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure health service now, because it was like, well, would you like a blood test? Or we can have like an ECG, or we can have both, or we can do this. What would you like? And she just sat there with like choices underneath her. It was really weird. I was like,
Right.
okay. I'm
wants
waiting
to be
for
a
like
millionaire?
someone to pass me the Xbox controller to like choose B. It's like, aren't you supposed to tell me what I'm supposed to be doing next?
Yeah.
What do you
So-
feel like? Yeah. Go on. What do you want?
I had an ECG booked in, and so I finished work, came home early for it, had my appointment at 2:10, rocked up there, and they went, oh, okay, hang on a minute, and she disappeared. You could hear mumbling in the back room, like, okay, fine. She came out. You're late for your appointment. Really?
God.
It says on this slip 2:10, and it's 2:00 now. Yeah, well, it was changed, and someone was supposed to contact you, and clearly you didn't get the message. I went, no one has contacted me at all. So it's been rearranged for Monday next week.
Right.
And up until yesterday, I was like, oh, is there any need for this? And then today, obviously, it happened, and I was like, no, something's wrong, so we're going to be going on Monday. So,
Yeah.
I'll probably be feeling a lot better by Monday, but it's in hand,
Yes.
but let's see what happens from then on.
Well, I mean, joking aside, I hope everything's okay. It does sound like a sort of palpitation-y type thing. But you know, obviously, you don't want some bloke like me just going, "Oh yeah, well, it sounds like."
But my friends on the internet told me this.
Yeah, yeah. According to the internet, it's this. Oh, well, that's all right then. That's fixed. Next.
Darren said this, and he's never wrong.
They told me that there was nothing wrong with me at all, St. Paul. No.
Nice.
So, that's been going on. So I think the more I think about it, the more I worry about it, and the more it hurts.
Yeah.
And it feels like I've swallowed an apple and it's like stuck in my chest. It's bloody horrible. So,
Yeah.
So I'm going to be... I might be a little quiet for the next couple of weeks. We shall see anyway.
Subdued.
Before that, the week before, I had to rush down to London because Jacob had tonsillitis.
Yes.
And he had like a whole thing going on where he had to phone. He was told to phone 111, and so he phoned 111, and one of the doctors just told him to gargle some stuff. And it's like, I don't really like the idea of that. That sounds like tonsillitis. You need some antibiotics for this.
Yes.
So he phoned 111 again. They said, go to this pharmacy, pick up some antibiotics, you'll be fine. And he was like, okay, fine. So he got one of his mates to drop him off there, walked in. Oh, we haven't stocked that for 2 months. Oh, okay. So then it's like phoning us up and was like, I don't know what to do. Okay, what I'll do, I'll hightail it from work and I'll have to take you up to Queen Mary's Hospital.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way to do things now, isn't it? Because 111, look, God bless the NHS, but man, it didn't help in this situation.
No.
It just pushed us to hospital.
That's what they do, mainly. To be quite honest.
But for antibiotics, that's
Yeah.
all we needed.
Yeah.
And so it was really fucking frustrating. But look, everyone in there was fine. We'll push we spent like 3 hours waiting, but that's the norm, isn't it? So I count that as a win.
Yeah.
Although there was one dude that rocked up. God, I'm having flashbacks on flashbacks now. One dude rocked up, and it was a lovely waiting room, really quiet, everyone behaving themselves and everything like that.
Yep.
And then it just takes one person, doesn't it? One dude rocked up on his mobile phone.
Oh, yeah.
On the top of his voice, "Where do I go?" to the receptionist. And she's like, "You got to book yourself in over there." "What? Can't you do that?" "No." "Okay." So he walks over.
Yeah.
He's talking on his mobile phone and saying, "Well, my mum said I shouldn't get into a relationship, and now I'm 65, and here I am just waiting for something to happen." And we're like, what the fuck is going on here?
And that's when his phone rang in the middle of his conversation.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Then he finished booking himself in onto one of these iPads, immediately spun round, walked straight back up to the receptionist. "How long will it be?" Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I don't know. How long will it take you to go fuck yourself?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yep.
He just needed stitches, and that was it. It's like, for fuck's sake, do a Rambo, man. Come on, be it.
He needed stitches. Well, he did by the time that by the time everyone was
After
finished.
you nutted him.
Across his fucking mouth? Well, that's where the stitches need to go.
Yeah.
A big gaping wound in the front of his fucking face there, look.
Oh, dear. So, we ended up getting him antibiotics and bringing him home for a little bit, and so he's all recuperated and back to normal, which is good.
Yep.
I felt like I did a good thing, and I felt like
Cool.
I was a positive influence that day, so I felt chuffed about that.
Nice.
I've managed to get my mum to spend hundreds of pounds. And this is because she came up, when she brought Jacob up, I left him at her house when I got him the antibiotics, and I went back to work the next day, and she said she'll bring him up on the Friday. So she brought him up on the Friday. And we were just sat there watching stuff, and I introduced her to a friend that we all know and adore. That friend is Bob Ross.
Oh, my word.
She had never heard of him.
Oh, dear.
Really?
Really?
Oh, dear.
And so we sat down for an hour, and I said, "Right, watch this." Click play, and it all went silent. And we were watching him create this thing, and she's like, "Oh my God." And when he does that little rolly thing, and like, all I need is like a little roll on this knife, and he shows it to the camera.
Yep.
It's like, there it is. And he whacks his brush, and you're like, "Oh God." And he does that little chuckle as he's beating his brush off.
Don't we all?
Easy.
Yep. Yes. Anyway.
Hang on, I've got to calm down.
No, go on. Go for it.
Oh no.
Yep.
And so, she was astounded by this. And she's quite an arty person anyway. She's got like a very good talent at painting and drawing anyway. And so the next day we went to Hobbycraft and bought like 75 quid's worth of materials.
Nice.
And she's done a couple of paintings. She said the second one is not as good. So I haven't seen that picture, but she sent me the other one. And it is very basic. And she learnt not to do 2 mountains because they look like boobs. So she has to do 3 mountains.
Well, of course. It's all about your mountain ratio.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yes. But it's really good. And she's I feel guilty, but she's found like a new interest, which is good. So she's getting lost in that, which is really nice for me to hear and see. So
yeah, especially if she's getting something out of it. That's the best thing.
Exactly. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. I saw a film.
Okay, go on. Yeah.
You guys are going to love this.
Oh God, here we go. Go on.
And Jim's already shaking his head. I can guarantee it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022.
No.
Wow, you've definitely got your finger on the pulse of the meme circuit right now, man.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is the Netflix one, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, it's utter bobbins. It is. I know. I'm shocked and staggered as well.
Yeah.
But,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. So I would honestly tell people steer clear of that because it is just regurgitating shit. And I know you guys are talking about the member berries and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's me.
Well, I was thinking about going on a rant about that. I won't because that's another half hour, and so I won't go on that. You know, we've done all that before as well, haven't we? But
yeah. But in fairness, we could save that for a Shonky Lab. To be honest, a
Well,
whole
maybe we
episode
will,
on
yeah.
member berries.
yeah, definitely. Because I've got some things to say about that.
Yes.
That is almost it, I suppose. Or one last thing. Now, I'm not asking for money, okay? Honest gov.
Okay.
Honest gov, right?
Right.
But
Okay.
Kimmy's turning 16 at the end of this year, yeah?
How much?
No. Back
Yeah.
away. Put
Yeah, go
that
on.
wallet away,
Yeah.
honestly. She wants to go to America straight after and do like a sixth form or whatever it is in an American college / I don't know, high school, sit on a couch and drink lattes and coffee and I don't know.
Dive out the way of roving gunmen, that sort of thing.
Basically,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
And so I want to pick people's brains because she's been accepted into this thing where she goes and lives with her family and stuff like that. But it's quite expensive. I'm looking at ideas on how to raise money for this. Just want to pick people's brains and ideas on how I can... Obviously, if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it and people would be living off of it, wouldn't they? But
Start an OnlyFans, mate. Yeah, you know.
Oh, that's just so wrong. Dude.
Go on, do an OnlyFans, mate.
For me, yes.
For you,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
What did you
okay.
think I was...
Well, I'm
you,
just
Elton.
clarifying. I'm just clarifying.
Come on, mate. Come on. Steady.
You know you want to. You know you want to, Elton. It's the right thing to do, mate.
It just means me logging back into it. That's all.
Okay.
You could like do some sexy lift repair. You know, like in like, you know, just a pair of dungarees.
Yeah.
You
But
know.
do it in the sort of Bob Ross style.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm just gonna turn the screw.
Yeah.
Me greasing the threads of an M8 nut
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and
Now, what
sliding
you-
it onto an M8 bolt.
Hold on. Now, what you got to do here is you've just got to roll those nuts and tighten those screws. Give them a good old tighten there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to beat off the old Swafiga. Watch the money come in to turn that fucking feed off. I will give you £100 to fuck off.
Elton, you got to think about the
bolt looks
advertising as well.
That bolt looks very lonely. Let's give him a friend.
Yeah, everyone needs a little friend. Everyone needs some good nuts around their bolts.
Elton, you got to think about the advertising, mate. Right? For the advert, you go, "Hey, ladies, let me push your buttons. I promise to take you to a higher level."
Yeah, or better yet, I'll go down on you. Oh dear indeed. I think he's the right. Basically, can I ask a question? If it's not too rude to ask it out
go
loud
for it.
on a public podcast.
That's all right. No one's listening. It's fine.
Yeah, well, exactly. I know that for a fact. How much does she need?
10.
Quid?
10.
No.
Are you really that hard up for money? I mean, you know.
Are we talking 10 thou?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
What?
I know.
For how much? For how
For a
long?
year over there.
For a year.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, the other option is you turn around and say you can either have 1 year over there or 1 year in college. Because,
I know.
wow, I mean, so what's she going to do over there apart from just sip lattes and say, I'm living the high life 90210. Dad, send me more money because I've used it all on pot noodles.
No. That's not going to happen. That's definitely not going to happen. As far as I'm aware, it's living
La vida loca.
Yeah, with like another family and stuff like that.
This won't involve shaking any babies, will it?
Oh, jeez. Oh.
Thanks, Jim.
Fucking
Yeah, and so we did manage to kill off Elton. It was unbelievable. We managed it. First time in podcast history.
Fucking hell, that was a bit of a hit right there, wasn't it? Fucking hell.
Some people thought it was bad taste for us to actually publish it after Elton died, but we thought, no, go for it.
Elton killed by a jibber jabber. There we go.
Yeah.
It's not sponsored by the Duke of York, is it? Let me just clarify this as well.
On it this week, guys. Honestly, this week. This isn't fair because I can't come back because I would just honestly kill myself.
We're working on it. On it. Don't worry. I'm sure it'll be fine, Elton.
Anyway, I clearly, I don't know what I was thinking asking you.
Well, I mean, in fairness, I don't know what you were thinking, expecting us to say anything. But I mean, as far as raising money is concerned, I think the onus, if I'm honest, should be on her to figure that shit out.
Yes, I know. Yes, I know.
You know, not wishing to be the hard-ass dad, because chances are I'd be exactly the same situation, going, "Oh fuck, what now?"
Yeah.
But that sort of thing requires, I don't know, organising shit.
And I'm very poor at that. I am very, very poor at that.
And sort of turning around and going, "Oh yeah, let's have a charity drive, or you know, or set up a coffee." You know, where she does things online like drawings, or you know, supporting, or you know, Indiegogo things, or you know, anything like that, where it's kind of like she makes something and, you know, support me, you know, buy me a coffee or whatever it is. It's KOFI, isn't it? Yeah.
So I'd advise, a year is a long time to go away. And I've known people who are older than Kimmy who did the TEFL courses, teach English as a foreign language, and I'm going to go and live in Europe. And we're back within 2 months because they didn't like it. So I just maybe, I'm assuming it's still going, but it used to be the old Camp America scheme where you could go and be a camp counsellor, which I knew quite a few people did. That's a lot shorter, and it's going away from home. That might be do something like that first, rather than go away from a year.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, a year's a long time to be away from your folks.
Well, ladies,
I know she's grown up and big and blah blah blah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's still tough being away from home, whatever age you are.
Of course, I struggled 2 weeks on holiday.
Well then, out there, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening and you've got an idea, please keep it clean. Throw it up on. Please throw it up on the Black Dog Facebook group, or let us know on Twitter. Chuck us an idea and just hashtag it. What's Elton to do?
Hashtag no chance.
Hashtag 10K getaway. 10K getaway. There you go. Hashtag 10K getaway.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I think I'll leave it there. I've taken up far too much of everyone's time, but yeah.
No, it's all right.
Wow.
It's fine. No, you no wonder you got bloody palpitations, mate. I mean,
there you go.
I mean, in fairness, I think your entire fortnight has just summed it up in a nutshell. You've got your mum spending huge amounts of cash. You're feeling guilty about that. Your son's got tonsillitis and antibiotics, and you've had to go through that. And now your daughter wants 10K just magicked out of nowhere so she can go ponce off around America for a year. I mean, personally, any one of those would have given me palpitations, as you'll find out when it gets to my week. So there you go. All right, then. Well, like I say, ladies and gentlemen, hit us up on Twitter or Facebook. Hashtag 10K getaway. Any information?
Just ideas.
Just ideas. Keep them clean, keep them sensible. Thanks very much. Right, okay then. Let's move on to Jim before Elton carks it. Let's move on. Jim, how's your week been?
I've been fairly quiet fortnight really. Just we had Valentine's Day, which meant we did go out on Valentine's Day itself because that's stupid. But we did go out for the first time. Well, since Omicron hit, we're actually go out for a meal, which was nice. Yeah. And I got some nice stuff, which was good. But mainly I did a lot of being just Minecrafting, and I think last time I mentioned we'd listened to the so I did a trilogy of the Reeves and Mortimer, the White House and Mortimer. Don't hit the microphone. The White House and Mortimer Gone Fishing audio book.
Yeah.
The Vic Weaves memoir audiobook and the Bob Mortimer autobiography on audiobook as well.
Yeah.
Which has led us to actually going through and watching all their stuff again. Pretty much actually, we managed to do it almost chronologically. So we started with Big Night Out, Smell of Reeves and Mortimer.
Oh, nice.
Then we did, what did we do after that? Catterick, which I've not seen since it's been on.
That's
very cheap on DVD, and that's bloody good, that is. Yeah, well, I remember at the time thinking, God, this is really weird. But it's kind of, it kind of, now I see it very much, so it paved the way for a lot of those kind of really weird sort of comedy dramas like Psychoville and Inside Number 9. It's very much the forerunner of those sort of things. And just really funny. And we've just finished doing Bang Bang, It's Reeves and Mortimer, and now moving on to their version of Randall and Hopkirk Deceased.
Oh,
so
God.
Hey!
I've completely forgotten about that. Yeah.
That's really fun. I mean, that's like, talk about star-studded. I mean, the first episode has a pre-Doctor Who David Tennant in it.
Oh, nice.
And Charles Dance.
Oh, nice.
It's just like, wow. And every episode's got like 2 or 3 really either big mix of big stars who are still big stars and up-and-coming people who are now even big stars as well. So it is kind of, that's aged. That's really good fun, actually. So... yeah, we have had an awful lot of a lot of laughs and a lot of having a daft laugh with your mates in front of the telly.
Nice.
And picked up lots of old catchphrases you'd forgotten about. There's a gyro, dear Tom.
Nice.
So it's been a lot of staying in, avoiding the storms, and having a laugh, really. So that's been.
And why not?
Indeed, and why not?
And why not? To quote, was it Barry Norman? Yeah, there you go. Joke for the kids. Reference for the kids. Cool. Anything else, sir?
No, I'll leave that there and you can move on to the next bit of ranting.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say, there's a man.
A moment of calm.
There's a man who's figured out the audience, right there. Okay, then. Well, then over to the next level of ranting, and we're on to you, Mr. Barnard. How about you, sir? How's it been?
Actually, I don't think I've really got anything to rant about.
Oh, okay.
I've got stuff that I've done.
Well, my week.
Sorry.
Go on. Yeah.
What did you want to get your ranting out of the way
I'm
first?
I'm joking.
Sure?
Go on.
Okay.
Go on.
No problem. So, what did I done this week?
I don't know.
What I did done this week, or should I say in
Yes.
the last couple of weeks, is went to the cinema.
Ooh.
And we went to see Uncharted with Tom Holland.
Oh.
And no, hold on. Hold on.
Go on.
Actually, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yep. Forget physics. Okay, let's not talk about physics. Okay, because there is at least one Fast and Furious level of vehicle use, and I won't tell you which vehicle in this that you're kind of going, I'm not sure it can do that.
Right.
But I've got to say, Tom Holland, very good in the role. Mark Wahlberg is cursed, I'm afraid, with a certain SNL sketch where Andy
Say hello
Samberg,
to your mother.
say hello to your mother for me. And he talks like that all the way through.
Oh, dear.
Everything's a question. There you go, even though it's not.
Right.
I mean, he was still very good in the role. Don't get me wrong, but I just kept thinking of. I was expecting him to end every line with "Say hello to your mother for me." See, you're a dog. What's all that about? Say hello to your mum for me. Yeah,
nice. Yep.
So so I recommend it. It's a good sort of Sunday afternoon, rainy Sunday afternoon film to watch. It's got all the kind of key elements you expect from one of those sort of adventure films.
Okay,
but don't go in expecting high art. That's all I'll say. It's dumb, harmless fun.
Oh, right, okay.
There you go. So let's see, what else did we do this week? Before I get on to the actual main event, I've been both happy and sad for one thing this week, because we had the last episode of Peacemaker.
Yep.
So as much as I love that show, and it's like, another episode, it's like, it's another episode. This is the last one.
Oh, dear.
Oh, no. And, I mean, of course, the blow has been softened slightly by learning that there is going to be a season 2 now.
Yes.
Which, if it didn't get a season 2, I would have to wonder what the fuck they're smoking at HBO, because this is a money spinner waiting to happen.
Yeah.
This is it. James Gunn could just keep cranking these things out, and I think we'd all have a good old laugh at it. So, the series has not disappointed at all for me. Every single episode has made me just want to come back for more. And there was even a few dust in the eye moments in this last episode. Yeah, it's sort of like, oh, good Lord, no, don't say that.
No. Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, very, very good. Looking forward to season 2 on that one. We also tried a new, I think it's a Korean show called We're All Dead.
Yeah. Now I knew you'd go for this.
Yeah, it's K zombies. Basically, but this is all set. In a school, and you can see it setting up various things like there's archery classes and stuff like that going on, and then just like the pace of life just goes suddenly batshit crazy in only the sort of way that K zombies can make it. I mean, if anybody's seen Train to Busan, you'll know what I mean. And it is that kind of thing. I think they're possibly the scariest sorts of zombies in those sort of productions. The way they move, the way they get the actors to move. And I don't know if it's under cranking the camera when they do move, but they move very angularly. And it's really quite unnerving to watch.
Yeah.
It's really quite, I mean, as it should be with these sort of things, they're really quite aggressive in the way that they carry themselves,
Yeah.
So, enjoyed the first episode of that. We're going to sit down and watch the rest now that Maria's back, because she was the one that wanted to watch it. So we sat and watched with her. And, enjoyed that. That was good.
Cool. Okay.
So there we go. So now we came on to the main event. Now, I got a Christmas present from Ree this year. It was tickets to something. Now, this is something I've been to before. And I went to the preview of it.
Oh, yeah.
And so now I've gone back, and this is like 2 years later, so this is giving it time to work out the bugs and the kinks and everything like this, and for them to do other stuff with it. And it's Jeff Wayne's interactive War of the Worlds experience.
Okay.
Cool.
And I've got to say, you look at the tickets, you think 50 quid, what am I getting for that? You are getting your money's worth, is what I will say. You are getting 2 hours of having to live through a Martian invasion of Victorian England.
Does it have a large, rotund Jeff Wayne dancing about like he's about to have a heart attack?
No.
All the way along as you walk through it?
No, it's nothing like that at all. The premise goes that you are Victorian people yourself, and you're coming to see the real story of what happened during the Great Invasion. Okay, so you are basically part of the narrative. Okay. And they've used Martian technology to tell this story. Okay.
Okay.
So you get led through various parts of the the way the album's made up. It's the key. It's all the tracks from that. There's a section for sort of each one. Yeah. It's like you start off going off to visit Ogilvy in the observatory, right? And then it all kind of kicks off from there. And creepy is a phrase I'd use for this. Sometimes it's like creepy keeps changing position in a crowd, right? Sometimes creepy's way at the back, waving at you from over there, and other times it's right up in your fucking face.
Oh, okay.
Right? I mean, there's some comical parts in it. And I won't go into what bits they are, but there are some genuinely unnerving bits. Now, I'll warn people before they actually buy tickets for this. When I went the first time, during the preview, when they were trying to iron out all the technology kinks, some of the virtual reality stuff that they're using, because you do have to put on like the headset and you go through things, but it's all very well done. It really is. There's a very nice bit when they do Forever Autumn. That bit is represented really, really well. And then it goes into the Thunderchild sequence, which you get to go through. You are right in the fucking action with that, right? And that's all virtual reality done as all close. You feel the wind blowing on your face and like water splashing at you and stuff like this.
Right.
But it is very well done. And it's my favourite part one of my favourite parts of the entire musical is the Thunderchild sequence. So yeah, they've upgraded it from what it was before. Now, before I went through this, it's fine. It wasn't the sort of ride that I don't genuinely get on with, which is touchy-feely. The sort of thing I mean, where you'll be in a scary haunted house, the lights will go off, and you'll feel something breathing on the back of your neck.
Oh, right. Yep.
Yeah, you get a couple of bits of that now. So, yeah.
And how did you get on with that?
The first bit where it happened, was okay. I was all right with it because it wasn't anything.
You wussed, didn't you?
No. It was the second one I wussed.
Okay.
Right? Because I had a feeling, I thought, like, as soon as it happened the first time, I thought, oh, fuck, all bets are off.
Yeah.
It could happen any time during this. This is it. I could feel suddenly Martian redweed climbing up your leg or something,
Yeah.
And so I was on tenterhooks from that point on, because it happens quite early on in the performance. And then it comes to one bit that's quite unnerving anyway. And they go, you know what? We're going to make this even more unnerving by actually touching you with something, right? We're actually see this thing coming towards you. Yeah, it's actually going to touch you. That's what it's going to do. Okay, and everybody heard me when the thing touched me. I'm not joking.
Did you do a squeal?
Well, this is the thing. There's one bit where everybody gets separated, and you go into your own little sections.
Okay,
and that was where the thing happened. And show me on the Martian War Machine where he touched you. It's that kind of thing, right? It happened to me, and I squealed like I squealed like a pig. I really did. I couldn't help it. It just came out. Right? Maria, who's 13 years old, down the way, she felt she wasn't really that comfortable with a lot of it. The most she said to herself was, I really don't want to be here. And that was all that came out of her mouth when this thing happened. Me, I went, like that. And I'm not joking. I could feel something was about to happen. And I got the edge of my hoodie and I pulled it up round the back of my neck. I thought if somebody's going to touch me, I don't want it touching my flesh. But it didn't.
And yet it did. It still touched you.
It came at me in a full frontal fucking attack, and I watched it and felt it fucking happen. And I couldn't do a thing about it. And I was just glad. I was so glad to get out of that bit.
You were so glad you had brown corduroys.
Yep.
Nice.
Yes, indeed.
Nice.
Yep. So, it's a fantastic event. It really is. If you got any love of War of the Worlds, or even, I mean, like me, you're obsessed with the fucking album, I would highly recommend going to this. It's brilliant. I love it. I'm gonna go again at some point. I'm gonna give it a little while, but I will go again. Yeah, I'm still gonna go back again because I want to see if they do anything else or add or change maybe something slightly.
You want to go again because you've got constipation, is what you want to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
so it's going to just sort you out.
Yep. Thank you very much. That's me sorted.
Yeah, it's cheaper than Senecot.
Indeed, it is.
Right.
So there we go.
So there you go. That's your thing. Yeah,
that's my fortnight, man. Yeah,
that's your fortnight, man. Oh boy, oh boy. Right, okay, well, considering the amount of time left, I will rattle through this. My first one is that Carol kindly took me to see The Shark is Broken.
Oh, nice.
Which was a play about the making of Jaws, set on board the Orca, starring Robert Shaw's son.
Who looks scarily like Robert Shaw.
He sounds scarily like Robert Shaw, especially when he's doing the Quint voice and he's kind of, Chief. You know, it's just like, wow, okay. The show itself was really well done and it was really entertaining while watching it, but it's kind of weird. I don't know what the point of it was. You know what I mean? It's like, if you watch a play, usually there's a story or there's but it's more of a sort of slice of life of things that are just happening and anecdotes. And there's bits which you can say, oh, I definitely know this, I know about the production of Jaws and I know how this is going. And, so it's fun to see those moments, sort of like Richard Dreyfuss basically winding up Robert Shaw and vice versa to the point where it ended up in like almost fisticuffs. But then there's lots of sort of made up elements which are thrown in to make it all relevant. So the Robert Shaw character, shall we say, sits down and while he's bored out of his mind, he sort of turns around and goes, this is the death of cinema. What now? Big sharks? What next? Dinosaurs? And it's just like, okay. And then it's like, then they mention about Nixon, and they go, Nixon, he's the worst president. Well, at least after this, America won't be stupid enough to get anyone dumber and more corrupt than him. And it's just like, and it's a bit honk, squeak. Here we go. In case you didn't notice this bit. And so there's bits of that, and it kind of, I wouldn't say it took me out of it, but it's just like, oh, come on. You're not going to sit there and start predicting superhero movies, are you? You're not telling me that back in 1975 these three guys getting bored on a boat waiting for the shark to be fixed had a full-blown conversation about Marvel superhero universes and fucking sequels. So there's bits of things like that, and it kind of just made me just think it was a bit honk, squawk, bit weird. So I enjoyed it for what it was, and I enjoyed it while I was watching it, and it's all well acted, and like I say, the Ian Shaw, I think it is uncannily like his father. And there's lots of little things where, again, you sort of sit there and go, I get it for dramatic purposes, but really you could have just made a story about them being on the boat. So there's like, a comment about where Robert Shaw turns around and says, all I've got to do is beat, I can't remember who it is, but, beat someone because, he died at the age of 52. And once I finish this film, I'm going to go off and write my memoirs and do all this other thing. And because, if I can beat my father, that's it. If I can beat my father to 52, then I've won. And it's kind of a really weird line because, but again, it's put in there because Shaw died of a heart attack at 51.
Right.
again, it's all those kind of things of kind of like it's interesting and it's nice as a sort of meta commentary, but you're just sitting there going, oh, you really? They didn't do that. Just I appreciate why you did this, but they didn't do that. So just go and make the story of the thing. If that's what it is, just make a story of it. So anyway, so I enjoyed it overall though, but I just had a few problems with it. What else? My daughter. The reason why I didn't do the podcast last week was because my daughter was going out to a restaurant with her friends, and being super protective dad that I was, I said, "Well, I tell you what, I'll take because she's going out for her first drink." And so I'm like, okay, right, fine. A bunch of kids who have just discovered alcohol are going out for a drink in some random place. I'm going to pick them up and drop them off. So I do that. I drop Katie off, and as I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, well, I don't know where the fuck I am, so I'm going to get my phone, look on my map, and then make a marker, record where I am, and then that way I can find my way back here, in the evening. Yeah. So I sit there, I park up, Katie gets out of the car, her friend gets out of the car, and I'm just sitting there. All of a sudden, this woman, who I've never met before or seen before in my entire life, jumps in the back of my car and goes, "Can you take me to Croydon?" And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "Take me to Croydon." I'm like, "No." And then she looks around and she goes, "You're not the Uber?" And I'm like,
"Really?
No, I'm not." She says, and I quote, she says, "Sorry, I thought you were the Uber because you parked up and you had a camera phone in the window."
Oh wow, that's your justification for getting in the car, then, is it?
That's it. That's what
is
qualifies
it your beaded seat as well?
It's your fault.
Yeah.
It's your fault. You know that, don't you? It's your fault.
Well, exactly.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
Your fault.
Yeah, so she gave me a fucking earful and then got out the car. It's like, what? Excuse me?
Well, you know what we say to those people, don't you, children? Why don't you just fuck off?
Well, I mean, to be quite honest, what she should be thinking is, thank fuck it was me in that car and not someone, shall we say, a little less savoury. And what else has happened? Oh, yes, and then we had the big old storm. Lovely jubbly. Yeah. Lovely jubbly. Bent over my mum's trellis. So, again,
is this to do with the storm, or is this OnlyFans thing that we were talking about earlier on? Have you got your own?
Stop.
No, back away from the conversation. No, my mum's trellis got bent over, and then what happened was, like, I'm there trying to work at my mum's house, and then all of a sudden, like, the winds kick off. And next thing I know, I'm actually standing outside, trying to lift all of her garden furniture into the garage because it's all like, it's like, oh fuck, hold on, the table's about to go over the fence. And if you've ever seen a grown man trying to hold on to a wicker table that's like 8 foot long with a glass plate on top of it, desperately trying to hold it down while dragging it to a carriage, that was me.
That's all them skydiving lessons that you had a couple of years ago.
Oh God, yeah, the indoors skydiving. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that was going on, and then I got home, and that was on the Friday. Got home. And I'd go into the living room, all the girls sitting on sofas, covered from head to foot in bloody duvets, and it's like, oh, the boiler's not working, and it's like, what? Oh no! So I check it. I do the dad thing of switching it off, switching it back on again, and that didn't work. And I phoned around Checkatrade, all these different fucking engineers, boiler engineers, 24 hours a day, quote unquote. Checkatrade.com, my arse. It's, I can't come out, I'm taking my son to football. Okay, fair enough. I can come round, but I can't give you a time. Well, can you give me a date? No, I'll see you soon. Then I had someone called Marvin, who I phoned up and I said, I've got a boiler, it does this, that and the other. He goes, well, I can't do anything because I won't have the parts. I'm like, well, you don't even know. Oh, exactly. I'm like, well, okay. Well, if you can't do that, I'm going to have to phone someone who can. So I hang up. Next thing I know, I get a text from that bloke. He's texted me back. He's found my number. He's texting me back. He's gone, I feel like you hung up a bit too quick on me. I'm like, what? And so then he rings me back and he goes, oh, I'm sorry. You hung up so quick on me. I thought you were interested. Let's go through the problem with the boiler. I'm like, dude, you ain't got the parts. Why are we doing this? So then he says, no, stop talking, turn the thing back on, let's listen to it. I'm like, okay, like a fucking idiot. I'm turning this thing off and turning it on for someone on the end of the phone. He goes, oh yeah, that I can tell that straight away. That's a gas injector, that is. And I said, well, the error on the boiler, it says that it could be a gas injector, it could be a condenser, it could be electrical, or it could be the flue. The FLUE, for those of you who don't know, which is the chimney basically out of the bloody boiler. Oh no, it won't be the flue. It'll be definitely the gas injector. I said, okay, well then, can you fix this? And he goes,
I got the parts.
He said, no, he goes, send us the serial number and I'll get right on it. So I send him the serial number, phone him back. Oh, I can't do anything. He didn't answer. After that, it's like, you just wasted my time and yours. Yeah. Anyway, this washes and rinses and repeats over the entire weekend until eventually a friend of mine, Jess, says, look, I've used this guy before. Call this bloke, Jason, and get him to turn up. So I do that. He's turning up on Monday. I'm thinking, right, brilliant. Okay. He turns up eventually after lots of backwards and forwards trying to hunt him down. He turns up at 7 o'clock at night. He goes, well, it could be the gas injector, it could be the condenser, it could be this, that, and the other. I said, look, yeah, fine, but we have had high winds, and the flue, the chimney, is outside in the alleyway, which gets hit by a lot of wind because we're on a hill, and it's facing the top of the hill. He goes, nah, it couldn't be that. And all of a sudden he goes, I go, but it's big and tall. And he goes, oh, yeah, well, let's go and have a look. Go outside. Yeah. The bloody chimneys come off the wall by about 3 mil. And he goes, oh, this is an easy fix. Just puts it back on, puts a screw in it, turns the boiler on, fires up.
800 quid, please.
And he went 84. He went 84 quid. I'm like, you fucking
bastards.
So the worst bit was, it wasn't that it was an easy fix, but it was an easy fix I could have done. It literally was putting a fucking piece of Perspex chimney stack onto a hole and putting a screw in it to hold it still. And I did that. And then what happened was the cringiest bit.
10 minutes later, you were part of Checkertrade.
Yeah, checkertrade.com. Anyway, yeah, no, basically, he's he says 84 quid. I've got 85 on me. I give him 85. He goes, I've got £1. Oh, let me get you £1. I went, no, you keep the change. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I said it, I was like, oh, God, that sounds terrible. It's like me giving him £1. It's like, you keep the change, love. It's like giving him £1. He's like, oh, yeah, very generous, thank you.
He just charged you 84 quid just to push a thing over and stick a screw in it. I think you're entitled to be a little bit cheeky.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm.
It's like, it's like somebody, this I've got a bit of a problem with just drawers. Oh, look, you just need to shut the drawer.
Yeah.
£200, please.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah, so that was fun, and that's about it, really. I'm not going to go into the rest of it because I've got some work stuff, but it does involve me doing impersonations of Brian Cox, and I shan't do that. Not for the moment. Maybe I'll leave that till next week. Anyway, right, let's move on because we have barreled way over time. I'm looking at time now, so we're just going to have to just jump straight into our review of Dr. Sleep. Roll the jingle.
I see it's nearly 5 o'clock. I'm here at home, my work's all done. No question where I'll be tonight, a place of cinematic fun. It's the lockdown, but I will not pout. Oh, my friends, I won't be seeing this out alone. There's Lee and Elton and Jim and Darren, all sitting far apart for social distance. We're at the shut-in cinema, down in the bunker of shun. Down in the bunker of shun.
Hey fellas, it's been nearly 5 years. You gonna let me out now or what?
Right, so Dr. Sleep. Yes, Dr. Sleep is a 2019 American supernatural horror film written and directed by Mike Flanagan. Oh, pardon me. Excuse me. Oh, I'm terribly sorry about that. Mike Flanagan, I should know, it doesn't make me normally that bilious, so I just I apologise in advance. It's based on the film is based on the 2013 novel of the same name by Stephen King, and is a sequel to Stephen King's 1977 novel The Shining. It is also the second film in the Shining franchise as well. The film serves as a sequel to the 1980 film adaptation of The Shining by Stanley Kubrick, and is set several decades after the events of the original series, and combines elements of the novel from the 1977, The Shining that is, and kind of combines The Shining the novel, The Shining the film, bearing in mind that The Shining the film, Stephen King was famously not a fan. Also the novelization of Doctor Sleep, and yes, and the film Doctor Sleep. So anyway, it's a big old mishmash. Ewan McGregor plays the lead role as Danny Torrance, a man with psychic abilities who struggles with childhood trauma, and Rebecca Ferguson stars as the main villain Rose the Hat. In the film, Danny Torrance, now an adult, must protect a young girl with similar powers to his from a cult known as the True Knot, whose members prey on children who possess the Shining to extend their own lives. The movie had a budget of, well, here's quite a range apparently. It had a budget between 30 and 55 million. So make of that what you will. How much do you reckon it made at the box office, Elton?
50 million. I reckon it just broke even. Let's say 50 million.
Okay. Jim?
70 million dubious canisters.
70 million dubious canisters. Nice. Darren?
I think it made 150 cans of steam.
150 cans of steam. Okay, Darren. There you go. Well, actually, it made 72.3 million. So there you go. So it did make its money, and that was partly due to a director's cut, which was later released and then put out as well as on DVD on Amazon. So it is my pick. So I'll go. Do I go first or last? I can't remember my own bloody format now. It doesn't matter. Let's just go.
You go last. You go last.
Yeah, go around the table. Well, just quick headliners. What did you generally think of it? Let's go with you, Elton, because I'm pretty sure you haven't seen this film before.
No, I've never seen this film before, and I did what I think. What's the length of the short version? What's the length of the long version? Do we know?
I think the short version is about 130 odd minutes. I think the director's version is 152 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, the director's cut's like 20 minutes longer, if I remember rightly.
Right. I think I saw the long version then.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I surprisingly
Mm.
really enjoyed it, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Just a quick question before we go to everyone else. Have you seen The Shining before?
Yes, I have, yes.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure because that's obviously going to be relevant going forward. Yeah. Cool. Okie dokie. So you really enjoyed it?
Yeah,
okay.
I did. To be honest, The Shining, I haven't seen it in such a long time, so I'll probably do a rewatch again. But yeah, there was moments. We should talk about these moments later on. But yeah, there was moments where I'm like, oh, but I think I'll get into it later. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Okie dokie. Right, and then over to you, Jim. I know that you and Darren have both watched this, but what did you think about it this rewatch?
Well, I saw the original cut in the cinema, so I did the full fat director's cut. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed going back to it.
Yeah.
I think for the director's cut, it's not so much his extra scenes; it's more just some scenes are a bit more expanded. But it wasn't like one of those director's cuts where you can there's a whole subplot put back in.
Yeah.
kind of thing. It's more just kind of, I think it's just things just a bit more rounded out, and the story gives it a bit more time to breathe, probably. But I'd be hard pressed to tell you where the extra bits were.
Oh,
but I think that's probably that's probably good in an extended cut if it does that.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, rather than kind of. It's like the famous the Aliens director's cut. Oh, here's an entire bit that went to the cutting room floor, and they should have kept it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But overall, this time round, you were...
Yeah, really enjoyed going back to this. And, it made me want to read the book again.
Oh, right. Okay. Cool. Right. Okay, then. So what about you then, Dal?
Oh, I've got to echo what Jim and Elton said there. I really enjoyed watching it. I watched the director's cut this time, and just again really enjoyable. That's it.
Oh,
so I enjoyed it when I saw it at the cinema. So me and Ree were both pleasantly surprised because we were thinking, right, there might be some good stuff in this, but no, we came out not regretting spending the money on it. So there you go.
Excellent.
All good.
Excellent. That's good to know. Okay. Well, it was my pick. I'll be honest with you. I knew nothing about this beyond the fact it was the sequel to The Shining, and so I went in with pretty low. I'll be honest with you. I went in with pretty low expectations because every time I've ever seen any Stephen King adaptation, with the exception of Shawshank and The Mist, everything else has been pretty middling to shonky. So watching it, I was really surprised. In fact, and this may be blasphemy, but I felt that I enjoyed it more than The Shining. And that's just because I have a problem with Kubrick as a director, because I don't ever engage with his stuff. I find it always looks lovely, and it always is brilliantly made, and it's always tense, but I never emotionally engage with it. It always seems a bit cold, and I think we've done that conversation before. So to actually find that there's characters that I enjoy and characters I sort of root for and like and don't like and all this sort of thing was actually quite a step up. So there you go.
Well, no, I'd go along with that because I think I'll throw this out here now. I think what many King adaptations don't get, because they often just cut for time, is what actually makes King one of the biggest selling authors in the world and has been for years. And that's because he can tell the truth about people. He can sketch in people and you recognise those characters and you have attachments and reactions to them. And it's that kind of thing that grounds all his storytelling. And he has a real knack of creating people who you really take a shine to, if you pardon the pun. But you know what I mean? But that's what makes him such a popular writer, is because it gets that emotional sort of hook. And there's that kind of telling the truth and to people about people and what people are really like for all their warts and all flaws. And most King adaptions just going, right, it's about a scary car. How do we do the scary car, guys? And they miss the entire plot of Christine, which is the friendship between the two lads.
Yes.
And the sort of love triangle that actually has a dark sort of mirror point in the car itself.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool.
Mike Flanagan is very good at. He's a very good director at sort of getting those sort of nuances, and I think it's better than The Shining. The Shining is brilliant, but The Shining's terribly flawed for reasons I probably will mention.
Yeah. Well, as I say, I think the problem with The Shining is the problem I have with all Kubrick movies, whether it be 2001 or Full Metal Jacket or Clockwork Orange. They all are technically brilliant, but they feel cold, and at no point do I ever feel like I ever give a shit about anyone in them. I think is probably the best way of putting it, because you just sit there going, oh, right, okay. I always feel one step removed. Well, okay. I mean, let's go on with that then. I mean, we've all seen The Shining. I've obviously expressed my opinion of what I think about it compared to The Shining. What about you, Elton? I mean, you've said you haven't seen it for so long, but
no, it's been such a long time. I remember. I think it was one of the movies where I sat down and watched it because it's a movie that you have to sit down and watch. You need an opinion on it, and that's how I went into it, just to get it over and done with, really.
Yeah,
and I don't think I got as much out of it as I should have done, and I don't think I paid as much attention as I should have done as well. But I enjoy it. It's I think it's a solid movie. I think the Kubrick movies can be they're if you say a bad word about them, there's always a person there that will shut you down for that bad thing.
Yes.
No matter what walk of life or who it is, it will happen. And there are people that feel passionate about it, and there's really no middling. Unfortunately, I find myself in the middling, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the modern day version of the modern day version would be like Christopher Nolan. It's like if someone suddenly goes, "Oh, Christopher Nolan's got a new film out. It's brilliant," and it's like, "Well, you haven't even seen it yet," and it's like, "Yes, but it's brilliant. He's doing it."
10 out of 10 on IMDb immedially.
Yeah, yes. 87 stars out of 5. It's just like, what? How? And you see that a lot on movie Reddit. If you go on the Reddit forums for movies, you so much as even go, I'm not a fan of the Christopher Nolan movie Interstellar. You just watch like all the downvotes come down on you like the wrath of God. It's just like, or you going on.
You couldn't fall down a set of stairs that quick, could you?
No, exactly. Or going on Twitter and saying, "Oh, Zack Snyder's Justice League is a bit shit. In fact, it's completely shit. In fact, I don't like it." And it'll just be, "No, you do not understand." Yeah. It's that sort of thing. There is another film I was going to mention, but I can't be bollocks to even start that one up. Yeah. But
tying the two together. I think where I've had such a distance in watching The Shining, and it's almost as if I was Danny and grew up and had all that time in between. It's kind of like living The Shining in real life. So it has been such a long time. So I don't really remember it, but when you did finally get into the hotel and start walking around and seeing bits, and it's like, oh, yeah, okay. Now, to my memory, it might seem very familiar, but to a person who's seen The Shining last week, they might look at it and go, that's not quite right, and that's not quite right, and that's not quite right. But that's like, I'm just waving my hands over that. I'm like, yeah, look, I'm not that invested in it, so let it go. Well,
again, it's that whole thing, isn't it? It's like there's a sort of collision between like two big fandoms there, isn't there? I mean, you've got like the people who believe that Kubrick can do no wrong and everything he makes is a masterpiece, and then you've got the Stephen King fans who come in and will have no truck with the idea that King might not necessarily write or make particularly brilliant books, but will, when he does, make fantastic books. But it's just. It's just the greatest thing ever, or you are wrong, essentially, and that seems to be the discourse all the way with both of those guys. So yeah, I mean, if anybody feels that way, by the way, and is listening to us and wants to explain in great detail why we're wrong, please send your feedback through to I don't give a fuck at idon'tcare.com.
Sure, yeah, why not?
Yeah, sure, why not? So anyway, yeah. What about you then, Dal? I mean, I think the last time you probably saw The Shining was the last time I saw The Shining when we did it for the cast.
Yeah, it was. It was.
So yeah, go on.
Stanley Kubrick films. I mean, I've enjoyed things like Full Metal Jacket. Right, I like that film. Right, it's a good film of two halves. That one, I think. This coming off of being a sequel to that film, I think this does really well. In fact, like you say, it's more coherent. It's not trying to be arty for arty's sake, which I don't know. Maybe Stanley Kubrick's is. Oh, this will look really cool. Put that up on screen. But why? Because it looks cool. Okay.
It's also not playing a clever game. With film, one of the big flaws with the film Shining is two. One, Jack Torrance is mad from the first second of the movie, and that's screamingly apparent from the job interview. And the other thing is, Kubrick insists on playing his game, going, are the ghosts real, or are they in his mind? Dude, you're making a film with a psychic child and you've shown us psychic visions. Of course the ghosts are fucking real in this universe, you tosser.
And the main character ends up in a fucking photograph by the end of it.
Yes,
okay?
I mean,
that's it.
Stop this needless pissing around going, oh, is it real? Is it mine? It's not, it's real. Just fucking cut the chase.
Yeah.
Show me the dog man. Come on.
Yeah. A three-legged dog is America. Look, stop it.
It is. It is. But yeah, I really got on with this film. I enjoyed all the performances in it. There's some real sort of get in moments as well, where the overly confident bad guy, or bad person, suddenly gets a bit of a slap down, and it's a visible. It's more of a. It's more noticeable because for them they get very affected by it because obviously they've been so assured of their supremacy for so long, however long it is they've been doing this, that for this child to come out of nowhere and fuck with them like she does, in that dream sequence, it's quite a. It's like, oh, I've been resting on my laurels too much.
Yeah.
Well, can I get through this?
I mean, okay. Well, I mean, that brings us on to Rose the Hat, shall we say? I'm not going to bring anything onto Rose the Hat, madam. Stop that. Don't go there. Please put down the pitchforks and get off of Twitter. Thank you very much.
It's gone FHM all of a sudden, isn't
I was going to say, let's not do that. Steady.
This week in your Soar Away Black Dog.
Sexy Soar Away Black Dog. What's underneath her hat? Anyway.
50 quid off of OnlyFans. Sorry, I'm going there again.
Have you got a subscription or something?
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, I'm being sponsored by them. So
right.
not Tasmo anymore. Is it?
Well, actually,
Tasmo moved on.
I'm actually doing an OnlyFans involving a Tasmo.
Yeah.
So,
Darren,
Darren foams in your cup.
There's a fan fiction I didn't expect.
Yeah. Foam in your
fill
cup,
my
sir.
cup with your liquid, with your foamy liquid.
Nice moustache there.
Yeah. There's more than one way to make a latte, madam. Oh, anyway.
That's not cream in your coffee. No.
Anyway. Sweet Jesus. Anyway.
Sorry.
All I was going to say was with the character of Rose the Hat and the True Knot. They are probably one of the strongest parts and also the weakest parts of the film for me. And I was wondering how everyone else felt about them. The reason I felt they were the weakest part was because when the tables turn, it seems to turn on them almost immediately. and then they never really recover as being villains.
The House of Cards comes falling down pretty quick.
Yeah, once it
it's a
goes,
slapdown.
it just kind of happens.
Well, it is the whole thing of normally they're the ones on the attack and they're the ones surprising the victim. Because look at the people that they deal with right up until then. What was it? First one's a small child, right? And they're always people by themselves, right? Who've got no idea of what the fuck is about to happen to them. This shows you what happens when people get organised, right? Because they're not expecting people to be organised and to be prepared for them, or just, to lay in wait and to trap them. They're used to it being the other way around, which is why it's believable they stumble into these the traps that are laid because they're not expecting it. They really aren't. They become so complacent over the couple of 100 years that they've been doing this that they're easy to take out.
Okay. Do you feel the same way, Jim? I mean, what's your take on them?
Well, the thing is, I mean, I kind of knew what to expect having read the book, but it is kind of, mainly you're dealing with Rose the Hat and the rest of I keep wanting to say the sealed knot, and that's completely wrong and libelous.
No,
but the true knot.
Together.
But most of them they're like just background characters. They are kind of almost in the henchman role. But I do think it is kind of like I think the way it's done is so kind of like, yeah, you think you're pretty clever doing your fucking spooky, witchy mind tricks and torturing kids. But talk you out of a fucking bullet, asshole. Just... but it's also, I mean, I think after I'd read the book and thought about it, I did kind of... It's very fitting if you understand who they actually represent.
Oh, right.
Because as they are psychic vampires... And they're actually all getting weaker. And that's because they've eaten the younger generation. And there's a line, I think it's... Dick Halloran mentions it in this movie, but he definitely mentions it in the original Shining, how the Shining runs in families. So these people will be going around and literally... They're eating and destroying their own future by killing these kids because the Shining doesn't get passed on. Now they're getting weaker and weaker and more desperate.
Yeah.
And they've basically just sucked up everything and destroyed the generations beneath them. Effectively, the True Knot are the boomers.
Right.
That's what they symbolise. Boomers in American society who've had the best of everything and have then pulled the ladder up behind themselves, but now they're fucked.
Yeah. Because, like I say, I mean, that is the thing. I felt like they were representing something. I hadn't really thought about it that way, but yeah, now you mention it, that's pretty much it, isn't it? I mean, they are...
That's why they're driving around in big... expensive camper vans, and they're also like subtly a bit new agey. It's because they are representing the generation that were hippies, and then as Gandhi once said, totally sold out the media, went all commercial and heavy.
Yeah.
But now have become absolutely Fox News MAGA morons who have just basically are destroying the planet, destroying the economy, destroyed their own kids' future because they're so fucking entitled.
Yeah, and then can't understand why it's not going their way when it doesn't go their way.
Yeah, but they've literally, they're the people who are, they're sat on the branch of a high tree and they're sawing away and they can't understand when gravity's going to slap them down.
Yeah, okay.
And so used to winning as well. And maybe that's part of their downfall.
Yeah, it's that arrogance of, I think Danny, when he's actually doing his possession thing, he actually calls that out and tells him just before he's going to pull the seatbelt trick.
I did like that, by the way. I did like that seatbelt trick. Yeah. You're not wearing your seatbelt. Boink. Fly, my friend. It did remind me of the dolphin from The Boys TV show. That's what I'm saying. The dolphin. Straight through the window. Yeah, what about you, Elton? How did you feel about them, the villains?
I really enjoyed them.
Yeah?
Really, really enjoyed them. There was a moment... I don't know if you guys have ever had this. Oh, am I disappearing?
Yes, you are disappearing.
Yeah. Okay, come back to me in about 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll come back to you in 5 minutes. I was going to say I enjoyed the villains myself as villains, but like I say, given the length of the film, because I only watched the theatrical cut. I will watch the director's cut soon, but I will say that the one thing I did. I kind of felt like the car, as I mentioned before, I felt like the legs got kicked away from under them, and they stopped being a credible threat. The instant.
How's that, by the way?
Oh, you're back now. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I was going to say they to me they even though they were enjoyable as villains, and they did, and now that Jim's obviously sort of put a bit of clarity on them, the one thing I kind of felt was a bit weak was just the way that once they got their legs kicked from under them by the sort of double duo of Danny and the girl, it was just like, oh, right, okay, you are not a threat even remotely now. And so the remainder of the film, which was almost half the film, the remaining half of the film, which was just Rose the Hat on her own, kind of getting rather cross. It was just a bit like, oh, okay, why are we scared of her again? I don't get it, because that was the one weakness for me of them.
Yeah, when I was watching it, I was thinking these are very much like vampires, but they don't have that vampire, all the biting and stuff like that. But they're living forever, and I'm glad, Jim, that you turned around and said that, because it just reaffirmed what I was thinking. But I think I got around about halfway through the movie, I just found myself looking at myself, going, I'm really enjoying this. I really want to see more, and even though I was watching more, I wanted it even quicker. But I really enjoyed the bad guys throughout this. The first moment with Rose the Hat, she could have taken me there. That was it. I was like, yeah, man, I am part of your crew. Take me, do whatever you want, because, that's amazing. But I liked all the different characters in there. That you had that grandpa there that they were trying to keep alive and not quite getting there. And obviously he's the first one to fall, and it shows you what they have in store for them. Yeah, which was really interesting.
No honor among thieves.
Yeah,
so sad. He's dying. With pay respect. Is he gone? Right, eat him.
Yep. Tuck in, people.
Granddad's dead. Nom 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 nom. No. Daddy, Granddad's dead. No.
It's just a weird version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Except Grandpa Joe jumped out of bed after supposedly being disabled for the last 30 years.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, it was clearly some kind of fiddle going on there.
Yeah. The Department of Works and Pensions still want to talk to him,
I like the recruiting of, was it Snakebite Andy? I like that recruiting and the way that they're watching her in the cinema and go, no, wait. She's going to do it. And you're like, it's just very subtle, very slow. It's not over the top gore, right in your face, like blood and guts and everything like that. And we should recruit her. She's great at spilling blood all over the place and drawing attention to herself. No, this is nice and subtle. And you're like, the guy kind of ended up. I don't know if he was dead or what, but he ended up partially dead, I suppose, or damaged.
Yeah,
you're like, wow, yeah, good on you. That's great. Are these bad guys? Are these good guys? You're not too sure. If Snakebite Andy had been left on her own devices for the rest of her life, then maybe she would have just continued doing good in the world. But it's once you get into this kind of group of people all trying to survive at the same time, then things change, don't they? But I think you had a good mixture of characters in this, and it didn't go in an obvious fashion for me either. It's very easy to have, okay, this person does this person does this person does this, and they will topple down like dominoes because that's how it's done for the last 70 years in cinema. It didn't really do that for me, which I was quite pleased about.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing that I think does come from like King's writing, especially on the better stuff, that even the villains have at least, if not necessarily sympathy from the audience, they have motivations that are understandable, or at least you can see where it's almost like the old cliche of the Marvel supervillain. They always start off as good people with in bad situations that become bad by the situation. And I got the sense just from that bit with the girl in the cinema that they were they all started off this way. They had the power, and then they got the power, and the power corrupted them, and then they became bad, and then they found themselves in an untenable situation of having to live off these kids with the power, the Shining, and it's sort of corrupting them. So I thought that was interesting. I mean, did it make you feel sympathy for them, Dow? Did you feel sympathy for them at all, the villains at all? Or
No.
was it just totally no, you just fuck them?
It was basically because of the first victim. That the way that they rounded on her like a pack of wolves.
Yeah,
It was like, it's fucking brutal. And it's like, you deserve no fucking sympathy at all. No sympathy, no mercy. You need to be put down.
Yeah.
That's it.
Fair enough. Jim, did you feel any sympathy for them, or was that just the same as Darren? You because like I say, I got the feeling that they kind of they've been driven to that rather than they wanted to do that.
I think it's sort of well played. So I'd read the novel, so I knew where it was going. But going back to my impression of the novel, is it's kind of, you introduce these characters, you don't know actually who they are or what they do, and then when they recruit that girl, you think, well, this is kind of like, a psychic underground sort of group who will always live on the road, and they're being persecuted, and King's very deliberately ringing in those particular bells, but the further it goes on, it's suddenly realise, hang on, you're adopting a kid, oh dear. But when you get that scene with the little lad, the baseball player, and I think that's one of the more genuinely horrific scenes in recent cinema. It's upsetting, but it's not graphic. It's just all in the sounds, but it's also, I think it's very illustrative of it's, because to be honest, they're feeding off him and feeding off his pain, and to be honest, that's why real life predators do it. They do feed on the pain. Maybe not literally drinking psychic powers, but that's
what
they get off on. That's the true horror of it. You don't hear a child screaming and they don't have that reaction of child in trouble, I must help, which normal people have. They think, great, that's the mark of real monsters.
Yeah. So okay then. Well then, moving on to it. I mean, Darren, as you alluded to, when Danny and the girl, I mean, they sort of form together to take down the knot. I mean, before we get to that, obviously there's the whole sort of prelude to that with Danny himself and the girl and the relationship with that. How did you feel about that? Because that was one of those things where I was kind of thinking, oh, this has so much potential for it to suddenly be like one of those things where, everyone hunts Danny down because they all think he's a dirty pervert or something like that. Yeah. And I had a moment of thinking, oh God, this is what it's going to go like. But it doesn't. The film pulls away from that sort of obvious cliche.
But it does mention it.
Oh, it does mention it.
It acknowledges that. Yeah.
So how did you feel about the two characters?
I would have been surprised if even, if at least a hint of that wasn't mentioned. Because of, I can see what it would look like from the outside, I liked the two characters. I liked Ewan McGregor's one just because he wasn't completely squeaky clean. There was that whole thing of the mother and the baby.
Oh, God,
that where he finds out that actually, because he did what he did, they died. And I mean, he was warned to stop there. Who I can't remember the name of the character now, the one that visited him at the beginning.
Yeah, the Scatman Carruthers.
Scatman Carruthers.
Well, it's not him, but it's that's who it's supposed to be. Hong Kong Fooey.
Do you know what? I just now in my head I've just seen, like, you say Scatman, and I'm thinking that bloke who did that. It'd be like, Danny, skip. Oh, bugger, you've gone and done what you've done. Oh, I really must stop the scat. Really must stop the scat. Danny, danger's coming your way. Use the shining Danny.
Yeah.
Let's get it, beep boop.
Anyway. Go on.
Danny, your dad is coming to axe this. Oh, bugger, you're dead.
Right, if you carry on, I'm going to have to take the headphones out.
Behind you.
It's like the most shit superpower ever, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't say any sentence without doing at least 2.5 minutes of scat beforehand.
Yeah. I'm the scat man. Anyway. The guy who was supposed to be Scatman Carruthers.
Yes.
Yes. Who was also I think he was the concierge in what's it? Oh God, what was his name? I'm trying to remember what his name was in bloody John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't him. No, it was the guy who played.
Oh no, it was
a guy who played Isaiah Washington in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway, go on then. Carry on.
I forgot what I was going to say to the point I was going to make.
I don't know. I think you finished. How did you feel the two characters got on, and how did you think the story treated them, to the two main characters, and how they got together, and how that moved on?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was very well done. I thought it was well written. I think it's quite. I like the fact that it's Ewan McGregor in a role where a ghost comes to visit him to teach him stuff rather than him being the Obi-Wan this time.
Well, you say that, but I mean, that's pretty much how he ends up.
Yeah, indeed.
Spoilers.
He does go there in the end. Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say one thing this film does do is make me appreciate Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, he was very good in the part.
Because it's one of those things. He's one of those actors where you see him and you go, "Oh, he's really good," and then he disappears for like 12 months or 2 years or 3 years or something like that. You go, "Yeah, he was really good in that thing. Wonder what he's doing now." And then he suddenly reappears and you go, he's very good, isn't he? He's quite good, isn't he?
There's a thing I want to see him in. Actually, I think it's on Netflix. It's a biography of a fashion mogul, based on a real person. I've seen bits of that. That looks really good. Playing very straight laced. There's no comedy in this character whatsoever, or if there is, it's quite dark and bitter edged. I can't remember what the bloody show's called though.
Guys, the rest of you, Jim, Elton, I mean, how did you feel about the relationship between the girl and Danny's character? I mean, just pushing that on. I mean, did they come together naturally for you? Did you enjoy their relationship, or did it do that thing that King always does with children characters, which is they suddenly become supernaturally calm and supernaturally, understanding of everything going on. Oh, my parents have been stabbed through the neck. Well, never mind. Anyway, drive the car.
That did happen, didn't it? It was okay. I am now centered in what is going on. It's fine. Mum, don't worry about it. And then just dropping the phone out the window and stuff like that. But I think they came together very well. It was, you said that like the grooming thing, which was an obvious thing that was going to be happening, but I think that was addressed and nipped in the bud. And I don't know if that's in the book or not, because paedophiles were only invented in like 2012, weren't they? So I'm not too sure how it was dealt with in the book or anything like that. But
they were royalty before then. Oh, allegedly.
Yeah. They worked together very well. I like that bit in the car when the crow has the I forget the actor's name, but anyway, got the little girl all drugged and stuff like that. But I really like that scene and just the natural flow between them as well. Yeah, I thought it worked really fluidly.
Yeah, I love that scene in the car. I'm not talking to you, am I, little girl? I'm talking to a visitor. And then she starts talking in a way that clearly is so obviously like I'm doing an impersonation of Ewan McGregor, and it's just like bloody hell.
Yeah, it was really good.
It's like, oh, hang on, there is actually someone else inhabiting that body. You can tell she's not the same person anymore.
The only thing that may have taken me out a little bit was McGregor's accent every now and again. It was just, it's Ewan McGregor doing an accent. Never quite nailed them, has he?
No. And he does have a sort of default American accent that has always been off-putting, even since days of Life Less Ordinary. I don't know if you ever saw that with Cameron Diaz. And he had this kind of American accent. And you're just like, what? It was to American accents what Dick Van Dyke was to the average Cockney. It was just like, what?
But yeah, I thought they worked really well. It was nice seeing Ewan McGregor, as you say, just pop up and go, yeah, okay, man, I would like to see you in more. That'll be good.
Cool. And Jim, you got anything additional to add to that? Or
no, I think it was very nicely played. I kind of like how the relationship builds to the blackboard.
Yes.
I thought that's just a really a nice sort of conceit. And I think although I struggle with Ewan McGregor's accent because I know how Scottish he is from seeing all his early films, right from the start of his career. It's very hard.
Yeah.
Once you know what someone really speaks like, there's always that disconnect.
Yeah.
But I thought he did a very good performance for him, especially in the early scenes when, Danny's really bottoming out in, addiction to hell. And I think that this film does a good job, I think, of addressing, say, kind of, and smoothing over the flaws in The Shining, which a major plot point in the original novel of The Shining is his dad is an alcoholic and he's struggling and he's trying to. Part of the reason he goes to the Overlook Hotel is to go somewhere that's completely dry for the entire winter. Yeah, and it brings those elements sort of into it and portray it really well, I think, and it's an interesting counterpoint because I think at first you don't realise where all these different plot threads are going. And I know when I was reading the book, it was kind of like, what is all this? But once you sort of get to the end, you realise how everything does not just tie together, but there are mirrors. Danny is an alcoholic because of The Shining. He has. And he has reasons, that Flanagan, I think quite rightly, he holds back till near the end of why he ended up drinking because of the visions, and how he comes to terms with it. But it is kind of any addiction is kind of like a vampirism in a way, and the true knot are all absolute hopeless old junkie bastards, who will do anything and literally eat each other to survive. So William Burroughs said, junk is the ultimate product. It is the only product where the user will sell itself to get it.
Yeah. It's very true.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah. I mean, I thought that whole build-up of Danny and his addictions and all that kind of thing, I thought that was handled really well. I also thought that the whole thing of him dealing with The Shining was again going back to your point about the original film. Was a bit more explicit that it was Danny who was at the center of it all. Whereas you watch the original Shining, as you say, it's kind of like, oh look, Jack is clearly mad from the fucking get go. He's absolutely bing bong, toys in the attic, bonkers doodah, And so to have sort of it seen from more Danny's perspective and Danny understanding that he's seeing ghosts and he's seeing these visions, I felt was a lot stronger than in The Shining, where it was kind of like, it's kind of like, is it Danny seeing it? Is the hotel doing it? Is it Jack going mad? Whatever.
I like the way that he dealt with them as well, locking them up in boxes.
Yeah, I thought
that's
that was
a great
cool
metaphor. That it's just, I can totally understand that. It's a way of getting away from. You have cruxes and stuff like that, and the only way you can physically get away from it is lock them up in a box.
Yeah, and just lock them away.
Yeah, just letting them float around doesn't work. You need to visualize that box. And then visualize the key that goes in that box and how it's locked, so you understand it. And then it's kind of rewiring your brain, really, isn't it? That's all it is.
Yeah.
But I just love the way that is portrayed in the movie, especially when they all pop open.
Yeah, yeah. The finale is superb. The way that all figures out, I like that. I was going to say something else with that. I mean, it's been a running theme for the last sort of like 2-3 months on this cast, but obviously the word memberberry is coming up again. I mean, how did you guys feel about the return to the Overlook, which was obviously the big finale? I mean, I understood like there's a fealty to making it look like the Overlook. There's a whole thing about following the whole corridors thing and the room 237 and all that kind of stuff, because that's in the story.
Yeah.
But I've got to be honest, there was a moment where I actually rolled my eyes.
Yep.
and I see whether or not you all agree with me on this, but it was just like the minute Rose the Hat came around the corner, looked at the elevator, and the elevator started leaking blood. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, are you doing that because that's what the hotel does? Or are you doing that to go, look how close we've got it. Look how close we look. It's a thing you remember. Look. Because it probably would have been better for me if whoever witnessed it was more shocked by it. But the fact is that Rose just walks in and the house is going crazy bonkers land. And then it does all these things from The Shining, and she just shrugs them off, which makes them less impactful than they already weren't.
But did it do it, though? Now, I wanted to ask this question because there was a moment where you see Jack Nicholson do the door thing. Mm. And did you need that scene there? Is that for people that haven't seen The Shining to make them go back and watch The Shining? Because it's such a famous part of cinema.
I don't know.
Did it actually happen? Or is it just this is where this is from, you better go and get caught up? And
well, no, for that scene, that's Danny remembering. That's him confronting a moment of trauma where his dad's literally coming to kill him and he's having to climb out of a window and he's leaving his mum behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the book, because in the end of The Shining, the book, the hotel actually is pretty much destroyed when the boiler goes up. It's something Kubrick didn't do. And so in the book of Dr. Sleep, they're going back to a ruin.
Right.
And what Flanagan does in this, he kind of takes a few pages from the original Shining with the boiler.
Yeah.
The thing, because in the big thing of the plot is the boiler is old, it's creaky, you have to watch, keep an eye on the pressure all the time. And as Jack Torrance gets possessed by the hotel, that gets forgotten about, and that's something Danny can use to start the fire to get out.
Right.
And they sort of incorporate that into this ending.
Gotcha.
Whereas in the book, it's more cat and mouse in the ruins, where there are actually various old ghosts just clinging to the... literally hiding in the ruins, waiting to grab anything that comes.
Oh, right.
It's quite clever how he's done it. It does. It doesn't feel off or a different ending, but he had to square that kind of, because Kubrick didn't fucking destroy the hotel.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Are you following the book or are you following the film that went before?
Well, that's part of the problem, though, isn't it? It's kind of like.
But you got to remember, in the original film, that vision of blood, that's one of the first things Danny sees, and it's like something like it's triggered in the hotel by someone with a shine. It's part of, like, you know, as Dick Halloran said, some of these things are just like movies.
Yeah.
And if you've got a shine, they'll play. And so when Rose the Heart walks in, you get all these flashes we've seen before, and that's because she's just literally...
Yeah.
It's like they're programmed into the fabric of the place, and she's like a power source that comes through, and they just trigger. And to her, it's kind of, yeah. Seen all this shit before, you know. I've seen these...
You're not
stood in the right place and opened up the cutscene. Gotcha.
That's another mistake, though, because she just thinks these are just movies, they can't hurt me. And the fact is, there are things in there that can hurt you, but Danny's got them in boxes and he's going to let them out and bite you on the arse.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That makes more sense now. I mean, I think that's part of the problem. I think it's explaining stuff, and it's also trying to it's trying to do that thing like 2010. Do you remember that? The movie?
Yeah.
Which was the sequel to 2001, and it does exactly that. It sort of spends more time explaining why Hal went nuts, what's going on with the Stargate and the monolith, what's going on with the ship, what's going on with Dave Bowman, and it kind of tries to explain things, and this almost feels like it's doing the same sort of job. It's sort of going, no, actually, that's not just blood coming out of a lift. That's actually, as you say, Jim, it's a vision that's triggered by people with the shine, and it's the hotel that's the problem, not Jack Nicholson. But unfortunately, we've had Jack Nicholson represented as a drunk madman from the off. So it's interesting those sort of that sort of job that this movie's doing. What about you, Dal? I mean, did you have any additional thoughts on the matter of
member berries, that kind of thing?
Yeah, member berries, and just like whether or not half of them were needed or whether or not they were sort of, necessary. I mean, because obviously Jim's explained it, but I was just like, that's obviously had to be explained to me, whereas you obviously have seen the film. So how did you feel about it?
It's the whole thing of there's always something bigger and badder than you out there, So it was just, they knew the hotel had these things in it, and the only way they could really get rid of Rose the Hat is by subjecting her to the hotel and letting the hotel do its work.
Yeah.
But then, like most of the American government's investment in organisations to, that they sort of fund and give weapons to fight sort of like people like the Russians, it turns around and bites them in the arse in the end. They have to deal. Of politics. They have to deal with the fallout of, arming this thing or giving it free rein to do what it needs to do. And I like that.
Let's not talk about Fallout. We're not worried about that yet.
Yeah. Not yet. I don't know. I like that game. I think it's a great game. Thank you very much. So, what else? I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was done very well. I mean, we know the tricks that the hotel can pull, but I mean, even if you weren't, if you hadn't seen the other film, The Shining, then I think, you're going to watch that and think, okay, so this is the thing displaying its abilities. Like, you're not sitting there going, oh, God, blimey, they put that in just, for memory's sake or anything. It's, I thought it was.
You say that, but that's exactly what I did think.
There you go, right? That's but you've seen The Shining. But for anybody coming into this for the first time, they're not going to realise certain things have been ported over from that film. They're just going to sit there and enjoy the actual movie. I didn't enjoy the movie because it was like, oh man, because it's just explained this part. I just took it on its own merits, and I was really pleasantly surprised by it.
Yeah, me too. Cool. Okay, guys. Well, I mean, have we got anything additional to add? Because time is pushing on, and I think we can all agree we enjoyed it, and we enjoyed it more than The Shining to a greater or lesser degree. But anyone got any last minute things they want to bring up?
No.
Jim?
I'm fine. I'm good.
No, I'm good, I think.
One thing I spotted. There was a scene in a small room, right? And I realised what I was looking at. I'm pretty sure the scene that they played out was actually the room that they used for the office in The Shining.
Yes, the bit with Bruce Greenwood talking to Danny. Yeah, I thought that as well. That brown office.
Indeed, and it was set out to be another room completely.
Yeah, No, that was I spotted that as well, and I was like, oh, there you go. But
I really enjoyed the death of Billy.
Billy, which one? Was Billy?
This is when Snakebite Andy is killed, and you just saw the powers that they really have when she just opened her mouth and said, "Kill yourself."
Yes.
And immediately just grabbed the gun, spun it on himself, and popped his head off.
Yeah.
You're like, oh.
Yeah, I think in some ways that's one of those things where you turn around and go, I wish I'd seen more of that. Mm-hmm. How dangerous these guys were. Because, I mean, you obviously know that they're appalling, horrible creatures. But there was a couple of moments where I'm kind of thinking, well, that's lovely and everything. They're not very nice. But what are their powers? What was Crow's powers? What was, I know Rose the Hat's powers, and we know Snakebite Andy, but there was obviously others in there, and they all had their own thing.
It was as if there wasn't enough time to do it. I'm not saying like make a series out of it or anything like that, but yeah. But then again, it's nice to have that mystery of not knowing.
Yeah.
Not having everything explained to us.
And also, I think it's kind of interesting that we're asking those questions as opposed to, why wouldn't they all just fuck off and get to the end of the film?
Yeah.
Give us more. It's kind of, that's quite a nice and interesting place to be. Yeah. Instead of going, for fuck's sake, not another person with magic powers. What do you want?
Yeah. I think I went into this thinking, it's just going to be a substandard sequel to a absolutely classic movie. It's never going to hit the heights of the original.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's there, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I sat there and I thought I really enjoyed it. I expected nothing from it. Mm-hmm. I was waiting just to sit there and have a review that just went member berry. And then
it could have easily gone that.
And it could have easily done that, but actually it didn't. It went off and did its own thing, and I thought, well, actually, you know what? Yeah, well done. It's tip top.
Well, as I said, I think as the end of last episode, don't go into it expecting The Shining Part 2.
No.
It's not. It's another story in the same universe with the same characters. It addresses a lot of the same themes, but in a very different way and from a different angle.
Yeah.
And I say this, going back to it this time, I noticed kind of how much there are these sort of weird sort of like mirrors and distortions and reflections between all the characters and relationships, and it's kind of it's a very, very deeply layered kind of story. You know what I mean? It's kind of a.
It's certainly better than the sequel to The Shining deserved to be. Let's put it that way.
Well, this is. I mean, King was kind of. He didn't write Doctor Sleep for many, many years, and he's not really ever really gone in for writing sequels to his own stories. I mean, he will revisit characters or towns or elements.
Yeah,
things set up in a short story, but they tend to be, more in the same universe rather than directly linked. But this, is kind of people asking, well, what happened to Danny when he grew up, and what he thought about it. And King's been through addiction himself, and he thought, actually, it sort of gelled. And I think he said, he was away somewhere, he saw all these old baby boomers in these, hugely, obscenely expensive RVs, still, pretending like they're all deadheads when really they're sort of massively privileged people, you know what I mean, in hippie cosplay. But with, all the first world trimmings that most people couldn't even, the RVs cost more than most people's houses.
Yeah.
And exactly. He thought, when something clicked for him.
It clicked very well. He is very good. I think he's one of the more accomplished King adaptations, full stop, to be honest. Can't think of many King movies or TV shows which have been as solid. I mean, there's like three that leap to mind. One's The Mist. Another one is Misery, and probably Shawshank is the third, but I never read the book. And then probably a close fourth would be either this or It Part 1, not necessarily Part 2. Well, I enjoyed Part 1. Any advances on that, or have I missed one? I mean, I liked Salem's Lot and all that sort of thing, but it's not the book.
Well, we'll see if the new version's closer to the book, which comes out in about 2 months.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah, something like that, isn't it?
All right.
Yeah,
it's not far away.
So the other great Stand By Me film is Stand By Me.
Oh, of course. I always forget that one.
Yeah,
Apologies. Yeah.
That's a good one. Never.
Yeah, it's cool. Okay, then. Well, I think unless anyone's got anything additional to add, I think we might leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okie dokie. As I look at the time and notice we're about to pass into Wednesday.
Exactly.
So let's just leave it there. So before we do the usual Pimp's Corner and throw out a request for any feedback, let's find out what our resident Death's Door
Evil.
resident Death's Door host will supply to us. What are we going to be watching, Elton?
Okay, well, we are going to be turning on Disney Plus for this movie.
Okay.
And there are hundreds of movies I want to do on there. There really are. But there's one I haven't watched in quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm due a rewatch, and I hope you guys enjoy this.
Okay.
Because it is Master and Commander, Far Side of the World.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
Master
that's
and Commander, Far Side of the World.
Excellent.
That's really cool.
Never seen it, but I'm looking forward to
what?
it. I've never seen Master and Commander.
Wow.
I've never had a TV big enough.
Well, there you go. Whew. Well, that's quite the surprise. Jim, have you seen it?
Technically.
So that's no then.
Well, I saw it on a plane on a transatlantic flight, and I thought I don't think I watched it to all the end because I thought, this isn't a plane to be watching on a small square on the back of a fucking seat with people pimping martinis and duty free at you.
No, not really. No, you lose.
But I don't
something
think I
in
ever quite
translation.
got round to actually to seeing it properly for whatever reason.
Wow.
So I'm looking forward to it because I did. I mean, what I remember seeing, I was enjoying.
Yeah.
And so now I can watch it properly on a really big telly.
Nice. Blum, 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 blum. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I've seen this plenty of times, and I absolutely love it. Or at least I did last time I watched it. So, I'm totally, absolutely up for this one. So, cool. Okay, well, Elton, you say you've not watched it in how long?
Oh, it has been years. And I did a rewatch, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I suppose. But
all right,
yeah.
Okay, well, then in which case next week is going to be an interesting one. So we're off to the high seas on the HMS Surprise to go hunt down the Napoleonic warship Acheron or Archeron, depending on how you want to announce it. And we will be off with with the lesser of two weevils.
Oh,
hey.
God.
Oh, don't worry. That's not my joke. It's not my joke. Anyway, right. So until then, we shall move on and let's just get the pimpy sections out the way, and we will find out what's happening over at Hypnogoria-land, Jim.
I've just finished a little 3-part series on the history of horror anthology books and the very interesting ladies who actually pioneered the field.
Nice.
And this week I've got a little follow-up show where I'm trying to answer the question of why were there tons and tons of horror anthologies and then suddenly they all seem to have vanished in the mid-'80s.
That's a good point. Good question. Okie dokie. And what about you, Elton?
Well, you can catch me on Shonky Lab talking about, was it the Winter Olympics, even though that's all over now.
No, I thought video games controllers because it literally just went live.
And video game controllers as well, yes.
Okay, it's only because I listened to it.
That dropped today, didn't it?
Oh, yes.
I'm in that one.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You are indeed in that one. Darren, where can we find you?
Well, on the Shonky Lab, talking about video game controllers.
There you go. Awesome. Elton, before we move on from Shonky Lab, I mean, you got anything else you're putting out at the moment?
Well, lots of things. I know Grand Prix podcast is coming back soon, but are you directing me in a certain direction? Or, no? Yeah, Grand Prix podcast is coming back, but I'm trying to do as many shonkies as I can at the moment, but health is getting in the way. So apologies if I don't produce as much as I can.
Okie dokie. Right. Well, there you go. And you can find that all over at rogue2media.com. As far as it goes with me, I mean, you're here, you're listening to this. That's it. You found me. Congratulations. But you can get in contact with us if you want to on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast. You can also send in messages via Twitter, which is at Black Dog Podcast, or send in an email to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com. Right. So that's that. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
Not a problem.
And thank you all for listening. And we shall see you all next week for Master and Commander. Until then, take care and heave to the sail, boys.
I can't believe you know quotes from it. Jeez.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll want to settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.